She stormed up my driveway like she owned the place, clipboard in one hand, yelling so loud the cows in the field scattered. "You can't live here. This farmhouse is under HOA rules, and you are in violation." I just leaned against my truck, wiping sweat off my forehead, looking at her like she'd lost her mind. "Lady, this property isn't even part of your HOA. You know what I mean?" Her face turned red like fire. She shoved a paper at me, some fake notice with bold letters, screaming eviction. I unfolded it slowly, almost laughing, and said, "You're trespassing on my property. You're the one breaking the law." Her jaw dropped for a second. Then she pulled out her phone, screaming into it, "Send the cops now? We have an intruder." My fist tightened, but I stayed calm. Deep down, I knew she had no idea who she was messing with. The wail of sirens came faster than I expected. Within minutes, 2 patrol cars rolled up, lights flashing. Karen, because, of course, her name was Karen, waved her arms like she'd just won a prize. "Officers, arrest him. He broke into this farmhouse. He doesn't belong here." She pointed at me like I was some kind of criminal. The cops looked at me, then back at her, confused. I didn't flinch. I just sat on the tailgate of my truck, lit my pipe, and blew a slow puff of smoke. One officer stepped forward. "Sir, we got a call saying you're trespassing. Can we see some ID?" Karen smirked, whispering under her breath, "Got you now." I reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out a worn leather wallet, and handed it over. The officer's eyebrows shot up the moment he saw what was inside. He glanced at his partner, then back at me, standing taller now. "Ma'am," he said firmly to Karen, "you need to step back." Karen's smile faded. "What?" "No, he's the intruder. This property is HOA regulated, and I am the board president." I leaned forward slightly, meeting her furious eyes. "Karen, you just made the biggest mistake of your life." She froze for a second, then doubled down, shouting louder, "Don't listen to him. I have authority here, and if you don't arrest him, I'll have your jobs." The officers looked uneasy but didn't move toward me. One of them spoke calmly. "Ma'am, this land isn't in your HOA's jurisdiction. We've checked the maps. You're overstepping." Her face twisted with rage as she stomped closer, waving her clipboard. "You're wrong. I personally filed the paperwork. This land belongs to the community now, and he's squatting illegally." That's when I pulled out a folder I had kept ready in my truck. I didn't even raise my voice. I just flipped it open and showed the deed, stamped and signed, with my name in bold across the top. "Funny," I said. "According to county records, this property's been mine for 2 months." The cops leaned over, nodded, one muttering, "Looks solid." Karen's eyes darted back and forth, confidence cracking. She wasn't used to being challenged, and I could tell she was scrambling for her next lie. Instead of backing down, she pulled out her phone again. "Fine, if the local cops won't do their job, I'll call my officers." My eyes narrowed. She had no idea how deep she was digging her own grave. Minutes later, a black SUV skidded to a stop at the gate. Out jumped 2 men in uniforms that looked almost like police, but not quite. Badges cheap, belts mismatched, the whole vibe screamed fake. Karen marched toward them triumphantly. "Finally, officers, arrest him immediately. He's squatting on HOA property." The real cops stiffened, hands near their holsters. One whispered, "These guys aren't on our roster." But Karen ignored them, pointing at me like she was sentencing a criminal. The fakes puffed their chests and stepped forward. I didn't move. I just took one more puff from my pipe. "Before you embarrass yourselves, maybe check who you're walking up to." They hesitated. Karen snapped, "Do it now." The Real police stepped in. "Hold on. Identification, both of you." The fakes fumbled. Karen shrieked, "You don't need to question them. They're with me." That's when I stood, slowly pulling a badge from my jacket, gold glint catching everyone's eye. Karen's face drained. "I'm not just the owner of this land," I said steadily. "I'm the county sheriff." For a moment, the world went silent. The real officers straightened, almost snapping to attention. One muttered under his breath. Sheriff, Karen's mouth fell open, confidence collapsing faster than I'd ever seen. The fakes weren't so quick to back down, puffing their chests. That badge could be fake too. We don't take orders, he didn't finish. My deputy, trailing behind the SUV, stepped forward, radio crackling. Sheriff, want me to run their plates? Karen whipped around, eyes wide. Her voice cracked. Deputy? Wait, you mean he's really? The real officers moved in, frisking the fakes, pulling out plastic badges, toy-grade handcuffs. One officer turned to me. Sheriff, they're impersonators. We'll process them immediately. Karen was trembling, trying to salvage control. No, you don't understand. They were just helping me enforce HOA rules. I cut her off, stepping closer, voice low just for her. Karen, this farmhouse isn't in your HOA. Now you're guilty of trespassing and you brought criminals onto my land. She looked around, realizing the crowd was turning. But instead of stopping, she screamed, "This isn't over. I'll destroy you, Sheriff." I'll lean back against my truck, calm. Funny thing about threats, Karen, they sound better when the cuffs are already waiting for you. The fakes were dragged to the patrol cars as neighbors whispered and pointed. Karen tried to play shocked. You can't do this. I'm a community leader. Her voice broke like she'd been caught in a lie she believed herself. I nodded toward the porch camera. Eve, want to see the tape? Her smile froze. My deputy tapped his tablet. Doorbell footage played clear. Karen slipping a forged HOA notice under my door, whispering into her phone. The same two men waiting at the gate. The crowd fell silent. Karen's face went white as the video showed her coaching the fakes. Act like you belong. Enforce the rules. She lunged forward, desperate. That's edited. Fake. But the tape kept rolling, her signature, her voice. One officer held up her recorded 911 call, her own words damning her. Neighbors muttered about past incidents. Social posts showing her bragging about controlling the community. Karen dropped to her knees. Please don't ruin me, she begged, eyes wet but hollow. I walked slowly toward her. You used fake power to scare my family and bring criminals onto my land. That's where it ends. She snapped, half screaming, half crying. You'll pay for this. I clipped my radio, voice low but carrying. Maybe in court. File everything. Trespass, impersonation, fraud. The deputy smiled quietly as neighbors streamed footage live. Within minutes, the scene was everywhere online. Millions saw Karen screaming about an illegal farmhouse, fake cops, and lying. Her reign of intimidation finally ended. By morning, the yard was quiet, peaceful. My wife stepped onto the porch, arms crossed, faint smile. So much for a quiet country life, she teased. I chuckled. She came closer, hand brushing mine. You stayed calm through all that. Proud of you. But in the distance, a black car idled past the tree line, engine growling. My smile faded. Karen's words echoed. This isn't over. The car rolled forward, window down, a man in a suit leaning out. Calm voice. Sheriff, you made quite an enemy today. Karen has friends you wouldn't believe. He smirked, sped off. My wife gripped my arm. Did you hear that? She's still pulling strings. I nodded. Yeah, but strings snap when you pull too hard. By the end of the week, the footage went viral. Neighbors came by, some in tears, thanking me. Karen faced charges, fraud, trespassing, conspiracy. Standing on my porch, American flag waving above, I looked out at the land I'd fought for, sworn to protect. Victory wasn't just personal, it was proof that your home, your family, your freedom can't be stolen by HOA bullies, fake cops, or people who think intimidation works. I exhale, come at last. This is my dream farmhouse. And no Nino, one will ever take it from me. Comment below if you've ever dealt with someone abusing authority or if you think justice really does prevail when the law is on your side.